Hello everyone, my name is Amazuddin bin Muhammad.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, my name is Sharina binti Muhammad Fadli.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nuruzulaika binti Muhammad Razali.
Hi everyone, my name is Nur Najwa binti Jamhari.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Faiz Azim bin Rosli.
Ar-Rahnu was created in response to the demands from the Muslim community in Malaysia and around the world who have few options for low-cost and interest-free financing. Ar-Rahnu were first established in Peninsular Malaysia's East Coast states, simply because these states have the highest number of Malays and Muslims. The idea of Ar-Rahnu were first proposed by the Malaysian Islamic Economic Development Foundation, YAPIM. After that, the Kelantan State Government's Islamic Religion Council established the first Islamic pawnbroking institution, namely Kedai Ar-Rahnu. Not only that, the Terengganu State Government has also established Muassasah Gadaian Islam Terengganu. As a result, the rise of both conventional and Islamic pawnbroking services has increased the competition in the industry, giving customers more options for obtaining funding that is faster and easier than commercial banks and other financial institutions. However, as a result of the broad development of Ar-Rahnu throughout the country over the past 29 years since its establishment, they have faced a number of obstacles in their daily operations that must be addressed in order to strengthen their operation in the country.
Okay, for the issue number 1, conflict in the essence of combined contract. So, in the structure, the Ar-Rahnu contract is executed in combination with Wadah Yadamana contract on the same item. This form of contract combination is invalid and impermissible because the legal effect of the two contracts are not harmonious because some of them are contrary one to another. One of the most significant difference is the time in which the place or custodial good must be handed back to its owner. For instance, the original ruling of Wadiah require that the good must be returned to its owner whenever she or he requests it. In contrast, the original ruling of the Ar-Rahnu contract is that the pledged good, which is marhun, must be handed back to its owner after the pledger, which is Rahin, has fulfilled his entire debt obligation. This because the holder of the pledge, which is Murtahin in Ar-Rahnu contract, is authorized by the Sharia to hold the marhun as long as the Rahin has not settled down his debt, as the Ar-Rahnu contract is primarily intended to secure the debt, which is istihaq. If the marhun must be returned to its owner upon his request, as in the case of Wadi'ah, the purpose for which the Ar-Rahnu contract was legislated is defeated. Conversely, in Wadi'ah contract, if the consignor wants to take back his good, the custodian is obligated to return the consigned good to him. Ibn Hazm say, is it obligatory upon the consignee who was entrusted with Wadi'ah to keep it safe and to return it to its owner when he asks for it? Ibn al-Arabi elaborate on the same point as follow. In Wadi'ah, is it not compulsory to return it which is to the owner until it is asked for? While in Ar-Rahnu, is it not compulsory to return it until the owner has settled down his debt? The reason is that the Wadi'ah contract is a non-binding contract which can be terminated by either party to the contract at any time. The above argument indicate that the current practice of combining Ar-Rahnu contract and Wadi'ah contract on the same item violate one of the essential features of Wadi'ah. The owner, which is Mudi', cannot claim his good on consignment because the good is at the same time pledged, which grant the pledge the right of retention. Thus, the owner can only claim the good after repaying his debt to the creditor or trustees, which is mukri or mustauda. In essence, inclusion of the wadi'ah contract in Ar-Rahnu contract in this procedure is unnecessary. It is because the purpose of wadi'ah contract is to safeguard, to consign good, and this purpose is already served in the Ar-Rahnu contract. Thus, it is obvious that the unnecessary inclusion of wadi'ah contract in Ar-Rahnu contract is actually a legal trick, which is hilah, to materialize an illegal motive or to acquire an unjustified benefit. A study shown by Muhammad Fairuz, the unnecessary inclusion of a contract in a deal is an indicator of the presence of a hilah element. As was mentioned by Ibn Taymiyyah, here have two types, which is they either include in the subject matter what is not intended, or they include in the contract another contract that is not intended.
There is no set program or procedure for combining Ar-Rahnu contracts in Malaysia based on fiqh concepts. And to solve the conflicts in the essence of combined contract, the contract should not include any scenarios that are explicitly prohibited by Sharia. For instance, when merging the concepts of a sales contract, which is al-bay', and a loan contract, which is al-qard, into one contract. These two contracts differ primarily in terms of their aim and method of implementation. As a result, discrepancies are extremely likely to arise when these two contracts are merged. As such, inconsistencies may have an impact on the rights of the parties involved and be erroneous. When this happens, it can interfere with the subject of Sharia adherence in practice. Moreover, contract mergers should never be utilized to commit riba. Contract mergers, such as those that result in the existence of bay'-alina or hilah to commit riba al-fard, are banned and not permissible.
For the second issue is lack of monitoring Sharia on its transaction. People choose Ar-Rahnu because of the Sharia perspective and to avoid the riba element. Generally, interest is expressly forbidden in Islamic law. This is because riba and gharar practice were eliminated by the use of wadiyah, qardul hasan, and ujrah principle. However, some critics believe that Ar-Rahnu lacks Sharia oversight of its transaction, and not all Ar-Rahnu institutions have created their own Sharia supervisor as required by Bank Negara Malaysia. According to Hashim, Akir and Kamil 2013 research, the study found that the customer make decision on purchasing items are based on price, location, and service quality rather than Sharia factors. On the other hand, Bank Negara stipulated that any conventional bank that wish to produce or offer an Islamic banking product must set up a Sharia advisory board in its respective institution. This is due to the role of Sharia advisory in controlling and monitoring Islamic financial product activity to ensure that it always complies with Sharia requirement. For the challenges of the issue number 2 is conduct Sharia compliance auditing. To conduct an audit, the auditor requires information in a reliable format as well as a set of standards or criteria against which the information can be evaluated, which all lines are gathered and information is taken. To ensure Sharia compliance with Islamic bank, Islamic auditors should conduct audits on two objectives, which are the first one is objective information, such as profit sharing financial information, and the second one is subjective information, such as Sharia information. So, to comply this auditing, there are some challenges, which are the first one is despite AAOIFI attempts to promulgate auditing standards, the focus and range of auditing standards tend to concentrate on financial statement rather than the larger idea of Sharia audit, which include the audit of all IFI operation based on Maqasid al-Sharia. The next one is the task of Sharia audit or review are divided to several bodies depending on AAOIFI auditing guidelines, such as the external auditor, SSB, internal Sharia reviewer, and the audit and governance committee. The last one is the SSB independence has been criticized because they are engaged in issuing fatwa and establishing Sharia compliance criteria, as well as performing a Sharia review or audit of the IFI in issue. Thus, according to Yaqub 2012, Sharia auditors are still seen as inadequate, unaccountable, and untrustworthy, with their independence compromised. Also, he believed that Sharia auditors will face lack of responsible due to the shortage of Sharia compliant inspectors.
To solve the issue, the dedication of committed qualified directors who are familiar with can assess Sharia compliance. As a result, it would help to provide effective monitoring and maintain the industry's overall reputation. The second one is an investment policy that adheres to Sharia guidelines. This means that IFI cannot participate in enterprises that engage in non-halal activities, whether through finance or share acquisition. Not only that, but the investment policy also needs to follow Sharia compliance. The next one is the supervisor's attentiveness and oversight of the position of the supervisors. This is crucial in guaranteeing the smooth operation of the institutions, just as it is in any conventional bank. Last but not least is transparency and disclosure. This is related to a product structure as well as its strength and limitation, and IFI should be held to this standard. Therefore, IFI should be open about how they accept and apply Sharia laws and principles provided by its Sharia board.
The next issue is issue of the fee for the bleached goods store. The issue occurs when the bank would charge a fee for 100 ringgits for every 100 of the gold price, but the customer in the Ar-Rahnu industry considered a low storage price to be the determining factor. Low storage cost of the customer approval is strongly expressed in Ar-Rahnu. There is a significant gap and a contrast between the two. According to certain Muslim economists, the element of interest has been completely removed from the transaction. The service charge, what we call is ujrah, is replaced not due to the duplications of the conventional product, but because it's rooted in the Islamic law transactions. In Islam, the nation of ujrah or service charge is permitted if the amount is reasonable, considerable, and represent the service offered by the Islamic institution. However, the literature failed to justify the effect of the different storage fee rates on the Ar-Rahnu customer usage. The rate is not standardized by IFI. For example, Bank Rakyat has imposed a fee of the 65 cents to 70 cents per 100 ringgits of the pledged item value, but the Agro Bank charged only 50 cents for the same amounts. This situation will place a burden on the customer to assess and evaluate their needs and repayment ability. The challenges based on the issue is determinations of the fee for the care of goods in the practice of the Ar-Rahnu. According to the current market practice, the care cost is calculated by determining a particular proportion of the value of almarhuns. The care charge cannot be calculated on the basis of the amounts is borrowed. It is important to note that if a care fee is charged on the amount lent, these circumstances might be considered a hilah to the riba. As a result, the costs imposed are dependent on the value of the pledged items. If the charge imposed exceeds to the appropriate charge, the suspicion of the riba will be persist. The same thing has been adopted by the Sharia Advisory Councils by the PNM. In Malaysia, there is no set standard rates for almarhum care service. The impost charge ranged from the 10 cents to 85 cents for every 100 ringgit value from the almarhuns. The maximum monthly charge for the care cost is 1% for the total almarhum value. It was discovered that almarhum care fee held in the safety box are more expensive than usual saving. In certain cases, fee charges are charged at the uncertain rates. There are other conditions for the increasing the fee charge where no explicitly applied. This raises issues such as hidden cost charged to the Ar-Rahnu pawnbroker.
To solve this issue, they need to replace the Qardul Hasan contract with the Tawarruk contract. According to the terms of this contract, the financial institution that provides Ar-Rahnu services will sell the commodity to the consumer at a set price. The customer will next be asked to identify the assets they want to pawn as Ar-Rahnu. The financial institution may deduct the actual cost of care for the mortgage property. The actual profit, however, is based on the selling price instead of the rental or custody ujrah. The suspicion, also known as shubhah, that ribas will arise can therefore be avoided. The structures proposed above, which are Tawarruk and Ar-Rahnu, are very similar to the personal financing products currently offered by Islamic banks. Perhaps with such an alternate framework, the pricing of Ar-Rahnu items, particularly those connected to Islamic social financing, can be reconsidered.
Next, the issue of fake gold. Gold is the one of the item that people keeps in Ar-Rahnu institutions. Lower safekeeping to the customer and offer free usury services make irresponsible people to make fake gold transactions. This issue has led to the major loss to the Ar-Rahnu industry and Islamic economy in Malaysia. This happened because of the customer fake documentations, theft, manipulation in procedure, and also pact between two or more parties. The first challenges occur from the fake golds is the challenges in strengthening the system in detecting the fake gold. These challenges happen when there is no strong security system in terms of act and the guideline that are being used in detecting fake golds, and it will lead to the big challenge to the Ar-Rahnu institution in tracking and preventing the fake golds activities made by the irresponsible customer. According to the Najihah and Selina 2017, fake golds happen due to the absence when there is no security element in the pawn shop and also no specific act in the Islamic pawnbroking.
This issue can be solved by providing the latest technology such as X-ray fluorescence (XRF) in detecting the gold. The XRF method is the method that has proven, validated, and also widely used to analyze multi-elemental testing, where it is less expensive and also faster than chemical tests and also fire assays. Next, the industry needs to follow the evolution of the latest types of artificial gold, especially the gold that comes from other countries, to make sure that the fake gold is not being entered into Malaysia. Moreover, Ar-Rahnu institutions need to enhance their security in elements in terms of the information of the customers, the rules, the contracts used, and all the security systems, including the closed-circuit television (CCTV) for the safety when the uncertain event occurs. Last but not least, the government should make the provision of certain acts by making the clear and specific acts according to the guideline and also the procedure to protect both parties. To conclude, Ar-Rahnu has made significant contributions to the Muslim economy since it served a crucial community services. That is why the demand for Islamic pawnbroking services has been consistently growing since their implementation. Apart from that, Ar-Rahnu institution in Malaysia needs to face lots of issues and challenges, but it cannot be denied that they have a significant potential to solve all the problems that arise in order to maintain Ar-Rahnu's effectiveness as a new microcredit instrument in Malaysia. Indeed, Ar-Rahnu is one of the best financing alternatives, especially for the Muslim community in Malaysia. So, it is critical to ensure that the Ar-Rahnu institution runs smoothly and keeps focusing on giving social benefits to its customers to remain viable in the market.